Good morning and welcome to Real Talk. Today I have the pleasure of having Miss Linda from Sweet Aria Decor join me. Her story is so tender and so powerful, and I'm so thrilled that she has volunteered to be here with us today. Linda, go ahead and let us know the name of your business, where you're located, and we'll go ahead and dive in.
Okay, great. Well, the business name is Sweet Aria Decor, but my name isn't Aria. My name is Linda. I named it after my daughter, Aria. So she was a little girl when I started the company. I named it back in 2017 is when I officially named it. So she was little. She's now 13. The sweetness is up for debate at this age.
She'll be
But
sweet again, I
she
promise.
will be. She will be. So, like everybody, I started making wreaths. I Pinterest went down the rabbit hole, so I started making home decor. Did it through the years, but then noticed people were always asking me, "Where did you get that? The supplies?" And so I'm like, you know what? I don't live that far from the wholesaler, so I started buying supplies and reselling them. So now I do decor, but I also sell supplies and wreath kits.
Okay, so to back it up a little bit, you're located in Illinois.
I am. I am in the western suburbs of Chicago. So I'm about a good 40 minutes to the west of Chicago.
Okay, so the supplier that we are speaking of is.
Craig Bachman. Yay!
Yes. So she gets to go shop right she doesn't do the middleman person. She goes straight to the supplier, which is perfect. So you started your business in 2016, yes?
That's when I started making wreaths, but I didn't really officially give it a name and think, okay, it can really be a business until about a year later.
Okay, that's pretty, I mean, if you talk to people, that's pretty normal that people just start making and then it evolves, right?
Right.
So we discussed the fact that you started with mesh.
I did, and that kind of is still where my heart lies. It's mainly the mesh wreaths. I like having the options for the different colors. It was easier for me. The thought of I didn't even know how to attach things to a grapevine wreath,
Right.
so I did start with mesh. And the first ones they were ugly. They were so bad. I
But
like
at the
it.
time, did you think they were ugly?
At the time, I thought they were okay. But
Right.
your first one, you make it and you unmake it and then you remake it like two or three times. And by the time you're done, you spent like over $100 some in supplies when you could have just bought one. But you learned it's a learning curve. So, it was.
Right. But that's part of it, right? And the reason why you have to with mesh is not something that you can reuse, right? Go ahead and talk a little bit about that when you're making stuff.
Right, exactly. So like when you cut your mesh, like it's cut, it's not going to go back together again. So I'm like, okay, well, I cut this at 18 inches. Let's just cut the rest at 18 inches and see what we can do. But I didn't know the difference between a ruffle and a cruffle and a curl or any of that. I actually started with 21-inch mesh, which is because back in the day, the 10-inch wasn't as popular, right? So it was 21-inch mesh was kind of the thing. So even that was like, making the poofs and the bubbles and it's snagging on my shirt and it can be a little sharp. So it was kind of intimidating, but the result was okay. And then so I made a bunch and I had nowhere else to put them. So I was like, hey, Mom, do you want a wreath? Hey, Aunt Sue, do you want a wreath?
So all family members get wreaths at that time. You get a wreath and you get a wreath and you get a wreath,
I was the
right?
Oprah of wreaths. Yeah. I was throwing them out. I was like, hey.
Well,
And then they're
I
like, we've
think we
got
can
enough.
all relate. I think we can all relate. You also shared that let's talk about your first craft show because that's something that people need to hear.
So it was at a high school and it was a big high school. So I thought it would be, big high school. It was an established show. I thought it would go well, right? So this was a spring craft show, which I feel is much different than who you get for the fall, winter, Christmas type craft shows. So I had a table. I bought all those wreath stands, from Michael's, the ones that you put out like on a grave. I had a whole bunch of those and I brought all this stuff and I was so excited and I sold one wreath, one to a friend. It was somebody I knew.
Yeah, yeah. You
So,
learned from that. You learned from that experience. So share a little bit about like what you learned from your very first show.
So I learned that even though it was a large show, it was not marketed well. It wasn't that people weren't really buying my stuff in particular. There weren't enough people coming through to buy anybody's anything. So, just because the venue is large does not mean that the crowd is going to be there. And there was nothing else going on that weekend. So it wasn't like competing with, Mother's Day, Easter, St. Patrick's Day. It was just the crowd was not there. But I also, I wasn't really promoting it on social media either. So I wasn't really doing my part to get the word out either. So, but I did not
So
give up.
two things that I got from that. One, research the venue, make sure that it is well advertised on their side. And
Yes.
number two, make sure you're promoting it on your side.
Exactly. Because at that time, I didn't have a business presence on Facebook. It was just my personal page. And I was almost like, I don't know, not embarrassed was the word, but I'm like, I don't know if I should put myself out there. These are all my friends and family. And so you got to get over that. Like, that is the one
Oh,
thing,
you mean
like
on social media? You're talking about social media, putting
social
yourself
media.
out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let
Because
me tell you something. That's rough. I'm serious. That's rough. That's a whole different kind of putting yourself out there.
it's a big hump to get over, but you've got to get over it, right? I once heard somebody say, if you don't blow your own horn, someone will use it as a spittoon. So you got to blow your own horn.
A spittoon?
Yeah, I know. I guess, people with
I'm just saying.
tobacco
I don't
users.
think I know I think I have an idea of what a spittoon is, but we don't want to talk about that right
It's an
here, right
old
now.
thing. It's an old thing because hopefully we don't do that stuff anymore.
But something that surprised me in our conversation prior to this, getting ready for this, is that you have social anxiety and you're an introvert.
Surprise, huh? Like
Very.
me in middle school, I hardly talked to anybody. I was very quiet. I was a nerd, picked on, so I was very, very much in myself. Even when I, was getting older. But the older I got, I came out of my shell, a little bit. So if you're on social media, it's very hard for people who are introverts. Like it's physically uncomfortable. Like your body tenses, your heart races, you have trouble breathing, your mouth goes dry. It's a real thing, and it's very, very hard to get over. So I've heard people call people, um, extroverted introverts, which means like you can put yourself out there and look like you're having fun and everything is great, but it's inside you're like stressed out and you want to go crawl into a hole and pull the covers
Literally
tight
curl
over
up
your
in a
head.
ball, like literally curl up in a
Yes.
ball and just put it away. I get that. I get that. But that did surprise me, not because of that's not a lot of people's story, because I've heard that often, but because the way that you come across today is very confident, so funny, so creative in your videos.
Oh, thank you.
You are a pleasure to watch. Like anytime something pops up from you, it makes me smile. And that's the truth. I'm not blowing smoke. I'm not trying to make you feel good. I'm just
Oh,
genuinely, honestly sharing. But that's the perspective, right? That's the perspective from this side of the camera. You don't truly know somebody, you don't truly know what's going on the other side of the camera. So always be kind. That's something that I want to share. Just always be kind. Now, we're going to dive into a little bit of Linda's story because I really want to honor and give you time to share all the things and what being in this business means to you. So we want to honor that. So let's talk about where this started, why this started, what you needed at that time. Um, so let's just start there. What was going
okay.
on with Linda?
All right. So, in 2018, life was going good. I was married to my second husband, who I love so, so much. He had 3 kids, I had 2, and then in 2013 together we had an oopsie. Surprise! That's Aria. So, it was great. We had 6 kids. Everything was going wonderfully. Though in 2018, Mike unfortunately was diagnosed with dedifferentiated retroperitoneal liposarcoma. That's a mouthful. You know how many weeks it took me to know how to say that? So, unfortunately, it's a kind of cancer that you don't survive. So he was fighting it for 2.5 years. He fought really, really hard. And so in August of 2020, I knew I was going to be getting laid off. I worked from home, but I knew ahead of time I was going to get laid off. And I was fine with that because I thought, okay, I'll just take a couple months off for the severance and then I'll go back and find a job. In 2020, I think it was October, Mike's tumors came back. So he had originally had a tumor the size of a football in his stomach in 2018. It's all in like your abdominal cavity. Then the next one was a cantaloupe sized tumor. And that one we had to go to New York to Sloan Kettering. And we stayed there for just under a month getting that one out. And then we thought, okay, well, maybe that bought us time. It bought us a year. But then it came back, and then there were 6 tumors in his abdominal cavity, and it was no longer surgical. So he went and did chemotherapy. And the second round of chemotherapy, unfortunately, made him go septic. And he died 4 days before Christmas of 2020. So, if you've ever had to hold the hand of the love of your life and watch them die, it is unspeakably horrendous. But it was also beautiful because I was very happy that I got to be there. All of his kids, except for little Aria, got to be there and surround him with love and send him off with love. And it was a beautiful thing. But it taught me a lot about what's important in life and what's not. And you are not guaranteed tomorrow. That is for darn sure, you know. So
We're gonna let you recover a little bit. So you said that the kind of cancer that he had was not survivable,
no.
but it goes to show you the person he was because he fought anyway.
Oh,
And that is a beautiful story because a lot of people that hear that they're not going to make it regardless of what they do give up. That wasn't his story. He didn't give up. He fought.
yeah, for his kids. He
Yeah.
wanted to give them more time. Aria was 7 when he died. And
Listen,
that's not enough time to have your
no,
dad, you know.
no, it's not. Take a breath.
I'm good.
Uh,
I'm good.
I'm not.
Oh, sorry.
No, don't be
I don't
sorry.
want to make anyone
It's
cry.
no, it's okay. It's okay. I'm seeing in the chat where they have a similar story. They're relating to you. It's heartbreaking. Um, she said it was the love of her life. Okay, so being there for the love of your life. So let's talk. Can we talk about Mike? Can we talk
Oh yeah.
about your?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
He was so
so let's
funny.
talk. Let's talk about Mike. So when you and I were talking, you had mentioned that he was your biggest cheerleader. So let's talk about how he showed up for you, what your relationship was like, how he supported you in building what you have today.
Oh, he was right behind me all the way. As long as he did not have to go into a craft store. Like he would be like, that looks fantastic. He would, give me advice. That looks great. Go ahead, spend your time in your craft room, go there. Hey, can you come inside Hobby Lobby and help me with a cart? Do I have to? Yes, you do. He sat in the car with Aria and let me shop. Like he would let me run into places, and I mean he kind of complained sometimes, but not too bad. But I would show him things like I made a Christmas garland and I was so proud of it, and I put it up, and he gave me the biggest compliment I ever got from him, was saying that looks like that could be in a department store. And
That is a huge compliment when somebody that didn't have to say that, didn't have to think that, but says that it's so good. It's not because I love you and know you. It's because I believe that it belongs somewhere that everybody should see it.
exactly. And so I every time I made something, I was trying to get that kind of reaction out of him, and that kind of helped me improve what I was making, but it was nice to hear that. It really was. But it also, makes me think people who don't have that kind of support and they don't have somebody cheering them on, their champion, then, that would be much harder to do. So I think what people need to do is if your champion's not in the same house with you have to go out within your community and find people who will be your champion, because there are lots of us out there who want to lift each other up and want to help each other. So we're out there. Come find us.
We're honest about it. Like we really want to see you win.
Mm-hmm.
We know how hard this is. This is not easy. We want to see each one of you win because guess what? There are enough doors for everybody to win at this. There just is. All right, so let's talk about the Christmas gift that you got.
Oh, okay. So Mike had ordered all of his Christmas presents earlier in December, and they showed up and they were in the Amazon boxes, so and I kind of a wish list and I had said a couple things that I would like. So this was after he passed. I opened up one of the boxes, and inside the box was the Mevo camera that I wanted to start going live. And so I just sat there hugging the box for like 2 hours and rocking back and forth and crying. But it was like kind of like he was like supporting me from beyond, like he was like pushing me from the other side, even though he didn't know he was going to die. We did not know. He was supposed to have 14 months and he had like 6 weeks.
Right.
But it was so sweet. But then here's where I want to talk about guilt. Okay, so making a wreath is something nice and fun and it's great. And then you lose your person and you lose all sense of reality and what means anything at all. So the idea of making a wreath after he just died, I'm like, I can't, how, I'm not going to sit there and enjoy something. He's dead. I kept saying that out loud to myself. Mike is dead. He's dead. He's dead. I can't be doing this. So I avoided it for like a month. I wouldn't even come near my craft room. I just had horrible, horrible guilt. And I just sat there wallowing in it until I think I needed a pair of scissors for something. And I knew the only good sharp scissors were in my craft room, right? These are the good scissors. Nobody takes them out of that craft room. Like, leave them there.
They know
If you
better.
got the blue handled scissors, if you know, you know. Um,
Yep.
and so I came in and I saw the scissors and I just sat down at my chair and I just sat in the room because your mind is, just everywhere. And I just needed a place to sit and it was quiet. There was no TV. It was just quiet. And I sat there and I looked across and I just started looking at my wall of ribbon. And it's funny how a silly little textile, just looking at it, can actually make you feel better. And it was the first time I had felt slightly okay or thought about something else since he passed. So I sat there and I looked at the ribbon and for like an hour and it just made me happy. And then I left the room. And then I think it was the next day or the day later, I came back in because I just needed to come back to my happy place for a little bit. And I sat down and I'm like, you know what? Valentine's Day is coming up. I'm going to make a bow. And I did. And I felt horribly guilty and I cried the whole time I was doing it. But I did it. And then afterwards, I'm like, you know what? I know the pain behind this. I know the pain I was going through, but somebody could use this and somebody could like this and this could brighten up someone's day. So I started getting back into it. And what I found was that the more I made things, the more it gave me back a sense of control. Right? Because when you lose your person, when you're in not even grief, when you're just going through something extremely, extremely anxious, things are happening around you, you have no control over it. When you craft and you make something, you're picking the materials, you're designing it in your head, and you're making it come out what it looks like in your head. So you have that sense of control back, right? You've pulled it back in. And then when you're done, it looks like what you wanted it to. So that also kind of gives you a feeling of like, it's completed, it's closure. I didn't get closure when Mike passed. There was things, I still wanted to say. I didn't get closure from that, but I could when I finished this product. And then it was like, okay, maybe I won't get closure from Mike, but I can get it elsewhere in life. And it kind of starts filling up around that hole that you have in your heart.
Right, right. And that makes sense because a lot of us, and you said this while we were talking, you get to live on. He doesn't,
Yeah.
right? So the guilt that comes from that, right? The guilt from still being able to enjoy stuff, to still be able to look at stuff. Um, but it shouldn't be that way, but because we're human, it is. That's just a fact. So, what would you say to somebody who's going through that season right now?
That it is probably a good thing to focus on yourself and give yourself permission to enjoy things because They died, but you didn't, right? And they're not sitting from the other side watching us going, oh, how dare you enjoy something I'm not there, because I am not religious, but I imagine on the other side that they are somewhere where they are happy and warm and complete and filled with lots of love, right? It's all positive and happiness and love in heaven. They're not going to sit down and watch us going, well, how dare you enjoy making a wreath when I'm not there? They want you to be happy. They want you to live your life, not exist, right? Not just simply live in an existence, but
Right.
live your life and do what brings you joy and happiness, because that's all we leave with in our lives is who we are and our experiences and our joy.
Talk about the support that you got from listening to somebody that you found here on this app.
Oh my oh gosh. So when I was the first month after he passed, I'm sitting in a recliner. I probably didn't shower for a couple of days. I'm in my big fluffy pink bathrobe, and I open up TikTok, and I had never really been on TikTok before. But I was like, what the heck else am I going to do? I saw videos of, people dancing and whatnot, and it looked like a good distraction because I needed a mental distraction. So I started looking on TikTok, and then someone's feed came up, and it was someone who was a widow who had lost, who was talking about their person and what they were going through and where they were in their journey. And I started following it more, and I'm like, oh, there's a hashtag. What's that pound sign that used to be on my phone, right? I'm like, oh, that's a hashtag, widow talk. I started following that, and that was amazing to see other people who are going through the same thing or have similar interests kind of sharing things. And it was great to see there's just these little communities out there, people who are gamers or people who like this or that. And it was wonderful. So it was nice to feel like there were people who understood and knew what I was going through. And then I saw that they were crafters online. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh, my people.
Yeah. I think everybody feels that way when they find somebody that's either doing what they want to do or are going through what they're going through. There's a sense of belonging that immediately connects and makes you feel seen, at least seen in what you're trying to do. But I can't imagine going through what you're going through. The love of your life is gone. You're numb. You have everything, things that you're supposed to do, things that you have to do, decisions you have to make, and you can't. You just can't,
No, it's
and
paralyzing.
exactly. So talk about what that was like. Talk about what that thought, because I imagine it was like it's almost like looking back and it wasn't you. It was like you were just there.
I was on autopilot. I mean, it was from the moment I got home from the hospital after we had to leave him there and walk out of that room. I get home and it's immediately, oh, she's got to start filling out these papers and, writing an obituary, which, I did because I'm a writer too. So I'm like, okay, I wanted to write his obituary because it had to reflect who he was. So that was the only time I felt like my brain was like in the zone and focused. The rest of the time, it was just, I didn't really, I'm like, did I eat today? Oh, and then I'm like, oh, I think I ate too much today. So it's, I wasn't even aware of what I was doing, things I had to do, trying to take care of little Aria. But fortunately, the other five of the other kids that we had, even though they were older, they still lived at home. So I had them around to help, which was amazing. But it was probably a whole year almost before I felt like a functioning human being, where I wasn't feeling like a mannequin or a shell going where I was supposed to go, but I didn't know what I was supposed to be doing. It
Yeah.
Your whole world is upside down. You don't know who you are as anymore because your other half that you do everything with is gone, and you're left with like half a person,
Right,
which,
right. And
you
and
know,
it's building that other half back up, right? It's literally filling that void, right? Of the constant I mean, like if you have a good relationship, if you are in a fantastic marriage, that person literally is the other half of your brain. Like if you're spiraling over here, they can calm you down. If you're super calm and they're excited or whatever, it's like you balance each other out.
you do. And it's like, you turn to someone, you make the shared stories, the shared jokes, like watching a Marvel movie, and I want to look over and say something to him, and he's in a jar on the shelf. He's not in his chair. And it's surreal. And you wake up and you still think, this is not my life. It's like you wake up and it's like you're looking in a mirror and everything looks the same on the other side, but it's like you want to go back into that other side where everything looks okay because you know the side you're on, nothing is right. It's all wrong and it wasn't supposed to be this way.
Is he still there? Is he still in your home?
Oh yeah, he's on the shelf. We put little tchotchkes around there. Every time I go somewhere new, I get a rock and I write down here. I went here, so I bring him pieces. Where I go, I bring pieces of my adventures back to him.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
he's
Okay.
got
I was just curious because I don't know. From everybody's different. Understand everybody. Everybody's different. So
yeah.
curious, Claudia wants to know, like, I would be, and this is just Claudia, worst case scenario, one of my cats jumping up on the shelf and knocking it down.
Oh no, he's in there good. I couldn't even open that lid
Okay.
if I tried.
Okay.
He's good. He's
Okay.
good. He's solid. You know,
Okay.
he used to wear this Wisconsin hat because he went to University
Okay.
of Wisconsin Madison. So we put the hat on his urn,
Of course you
you
did.
know, and like for Christmas, a little Santa hat or something.
Okay.
He was a very
Okay.
funny guy, and he knew I wanted to keep him near me, so he was
Okay.
cool with this. Who knows where we're going to end up
Okay.
someday? But I did tell my kids, I need to be cremated next to him, but you have to dump enough of me out that I weigh less than him. All right, so I know that's the only
You
thing.
know
The only thing I told them.
that's not how that works.
I'm like, put the rest of me under a tree somewhere. I have to weigh less than him for eternity. I was always a
Bones
little
are
bit bigger
bones,
than him.
babe. Bones are bones. Everything else goes away. It all melts. All that stuff melts. It's bones are bones. So bones are pretty equal, I think. I think
I
bone
hope
mass is
so.
pretty
I hope
equal.
so. But I
I'm
also want
just
some
saying.
glitter put in there as well.
Of course. I
No
think you'll
pink
end up
glitter.
with it no matter what. So, because I mean, we all live in the glitter world. I think it'll end up in there no matter what.
It is.
Oh, friend, I absolutely love that you had that kind of love in your life, that you were blessed enough to experience that in your life. Recently, your children's father passed.
Yeah. So it's been the last 5 years, 6 years, I guess now have been really hard. So a year after my husband passed, 51 weeks after, my cousin passed away. And we were both only children, so she was as close to as sisters as we had. She passed away very suddenly from cancer. That was horrible. And then about 3 weeks ago, the father of my first two kids, who I was still on really good terms with, we were great friends. We were together since high school. So we had that whole big history and everything. He was a really great guy, but he unfortunately passed away from heart failure at the same age that Mike was. So
Oh,
again, it was bringing around some of the same feelings again, even though you go through it once and you come out of it thinking, okay, I'm not going to feel guilty for crafting, and you come out of it and then someone else passes or another thing happens and you kind of go right back to that and maybe not as deep, but it brings you back to the same, the guilt is there again. How can I be doing this when he's gone? How can I be doing this when my kids' hearts are broken? But you have to keep going and there's no reason to feel guilt, but you will.
yeah.
It's just human nature.
So you had mentioned that you had tried therapy.
I did. I tried therapy after Mike died, and honestly, it didn't really help me because I don't think the person that I was seeing had been through what I had gone through. So I don't think, people always have the same things. Oh, well, you need to go on with your life. And it's the same stuff I'm spouting here, right? So, but unless you've been through it, the platitudes are great, but you need someone to say, you know what? Yeah, this really freaking sucks that he's dead. It really sucks. And I'm not going to try to say anything to make you feel better. I just wasn't getting that kind of help from therapy. And I did look into like widow groups, but they were all, people who had been older, who had like 40 years with their husbands. And I'm like, I had 14 years with Mike, 8 of them were married. I'm like, being a younger widow, I think is a lot harder because there's still so much of your life that you have to go through without them, and now I'm at the point where I'm like, do I ever date again? I don't know. Do I want to? Maybe not, because that would take time away from my crafting. I mean, it,
Things become her spouse, is what I'm hearing.
it does. It kind of, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's if that's your focus and that's where you're at right now, that's okay. And here's the other thing. There's somebody that's in the chat that is literally going through this right now.
Oh no.
Yeah. Our
Oh,
friend
oh, my
Emily.
heart goes out to you.
Yeah, our friend
Oh,
Emily is going through this right now. And I knew that this conversation would be so good for her to hear right now. And it's so relatable to so many that will see this in the future. But our friend Emily is going through this right now. Yeah.
oh, Emily, I am so, so sorry because I know how hurt you are right now. I know it sounds stupid for people to say it's going to be okay. You learn to be okay in a different way than you were before. Like you will never be, life will never be what it was before, but it doesn't mean that it's not going to be good in its own way. You know, life isn't over. It's just things shift. I mean, anything in life, nothing ever stays the same, but that's the biggest thing to change. But you'll be okay, and through it, maybe you'll find out more about who you are as an individual too. You're going to get to know yourself a lot better, but just give yourself grace to feel all the anger, pain, lash out, scream, yell, get that all out, you know? But then it's okay to still enjoy things in life. And it's not going to happen right away. It's going to take a long time,
Yeah.
but
And
it's
it's
okay.
okay. Your journey is your journey. Your journey is yours. And I just want you to know that everybody has a story. Like you guys didn't know that about Linda. You didn't know that what she's been through and what she's felt and the steps that she's taken. That's why this is so important. You guys get to hear the journey from exactly from something that is nearly impossible. You're on the floor, literally flat on your back. Don't know, getting up the next day, there's nothing to get up for type of feeling. To now she is thriving and building and growing, where you guys have no idea just how much this woman has grit. But we're gonna find out. We're gonna learn about Miss Linda and her grit. Okay, we're going to shift a little bit. We're going to get to the other side of this thing. So you are called the tomato cage lady. Let's talk
Tomato
about
cage
how that.
trees.
Yeah, let's talk about the trees that you started creating, and she has a tutorial for this, just so you know, guys. She does have a tutorial for what she makes, and it's beautiful. So go ahead.
Thank you. So it was about, I think 2017 was when I made my first one. I saw a tomato cage tree on Pinterest because that's where everything is. And I was like, oh, that looks kind of cool. I'm going to try that. And I did it using the methods that I saw other people making because, you know, I wanted to have something. I started doing fall craft shows, I should say. I started doing fall craft shows and I had done one, but I wanted to do more kind of than just wreaths because I, you know, well, maybe I've got enough wreaths or, you know, people always say that. I'm like, well, I want to have something else I can point them to be like, well, if your door's fine, check this out. So, you know, I made a couple, but I wasn't so into the way it kind of like wrapped around, or if it was like made with smaller mesh, it just looked like a triangle. So it took me probably about 2 weeks to kind of come up with a different way of how I wanted to make it, you know, and
Okay.
then the first one was okay. But then I started adding stuff to it and then it started selling really well. And then people saw, yeah, I put it on social media and it really took off really well there. And it scared me to put that on social media at first. I was like, someone's going to call it ugly. But it was a hit. But
I hear
people
you.
wanted me to ship them. These things are like 36 inches tall. Like I could buy it a plane ticket on Southwest and it would probably cost less than it would be to ship that thing.
Right.
So I did a tutorial, a video tutorial, and written because I have a background as a business analyst writing user guides. So I was like, well, I can write that step by step. So there's
That's
two different
awesome.
tutorials out there, guys. Take your pick.
Yes.
But
Yes.
it turned out to be really, really popular. So then I kept making more trees and I would sell a lot of trees.
Right.
So I kind of just grew that and I kind of became known for that for quite some time. So,
So
but
so shipping, but the way you store them because I've seen the video that you share about how you store them. Doesn't that make it small enough to ship now? Because
It
you,
it can now. Well, now that I know, if you got to keep it under like 35 inches, otherwise you get hit with the extra fee. So I learned better how to ship it. I learned that
right.
I don't need that much room in the box. Like it's gonna expand when they take it out. So I can ship in a smaller box. So
Right.
that has helped. I mean, it's still about $60 to ship.
So you take the topper off, don't you? And you put it in the,
Oh yeah. So yeah, I take Frosty's head off the top and I shove it up its butt underneath. It's like stuffing a turkey. Just go right up there.
and
But
that, and that is how you store them as well.
it
So
is
you can
for
ship them
most of
both.
them. You take the
Yeah.
topper off, and then people are asking, "Well, how do I store it?" So I have a little thing that's in the booth that has a picture of how to store it. You get the plastic bag, you tie it in the knots, and then you tell them you can hang it up and out of the way. So
Right.
the moral of the story is that you've got to anticipate the questions you're going to be asked and almost pre-answer it in a way so that all of their hesitations about wanting to buy your item have gone out the door and they don't have any more resistance. Oh, I can just hang it on a hook. Okay, great. I'll take that tree. That happens so often. But
So
you
you
have to
touched on the
talk to
fact.
people at the craft show.
Yeah, you do. You have to get past your social your social anxiety and your introvertedness and actually talk to people. But you touched on the fact that you
Yeah.
were a business analyst. Let's just go there for a minute because I'm sure people are going, she was a what?
Yeah. So what that basically is you find out from a business, like, what are your business problems that you're having? What do you need from your business? You write it all down, like document it. It's kind of like playing detective when it comes to business. What do you need? Write it all down. And then what are the solutions going to be? What are we looking for? Like, are you looking for a whole new software package? Are you looking for this functionality? And you write it down and then you make sure it gets coded properly. And then, it's all making sure that what they want they can get, and then it comes to fruition, and then it gets implemented and everything is good. And I did that for mail order pharmacies for about 20 some years.
Yeah, so
I hated
everybody
it.
has a background, guys. I know everybody has a background. Everybody comes from something. So the joy that you have found and the things that you learned from your previous experience, though I'm sure has been very good for what you do now.
Oh, it absolutely is, because I also was in procurement for a while. So I learned about, buying things, but I also learned so much about shipping and like, what's dim weight? Oh, that's, your dimensional, like it's based on the size of the box, not the weight. And it's funny the things that you can take from working a 9 to 5 job and apply it to your business, like having workstations, in a mail order pharmacy, things get and data entered over here, then you take it over here to fill it, you take it over there to ship it. So I kind of set up my business the same way. My office is my ship station, right? That's got all the boxes, that's got the scale. Having it all set out, organized in one spot makes it faster when you're trying to go through, shipping stuff. It just helps your productivity, helps your organization.
Right. When
So
you know where everything is, when you know where everything is and you can put your hand on it. But to somebody else walking, and this is true for everybody, so listen close. Anybody that walks into anybody's craft area, workshop, whatever it is, a lot of times it can look overwhelming and chaotic to that person. But it's because we each have our own systems.
exactly. Like,
Yeah.
it
So,
could look like a mess and you could be like, oh, where's that pink ribbon with the white polka dots? It's right over there, second shelf from the top, fourth from the left. You know where it is. It's organized chaos.
yep. And that's the thing. So don't ever think that you're doing it wrong if it makes sense to you, because
Exactly.
that's important. Somebody asked in the comments, your giant pumpkins must cost a fortune to ship.
They're up there. They cost about $45 to ship. I was able to
Yeah.
get the height down and put it in the box on an angle, which helps, but yeah, yeah, they're biggies.
We get creative, guys. We get super creative. You've got to give people credit. It's a trial and error thing all the way through. But you can do it and you can figure it out. And a lot of customers, guess what? they're willing to pay the shipping because they want the item.
It is, yeah, exactly. So here's the thing that I use. I know a lot of other wreath makers use it too. So there's ShipStation, there's Pirate Ship. That's great. But once you get boxes bigger than 24 inches, it gets really expensive. So there's this thing called worldwide shipping, or Worldwide Express, I believe. But if you go contact them, they set me up with an account. So when I ship the big things, I get pretty good discounted rates through that. They deal with a lot of wreath makers in the community.
Okay.
So I believe it's called Worldwide Express or Worldwide
Absolutely.
Shipping.
There's a tidbit, guys, right there. That's a tidbit because I do know that there are people that shy away from their love of making those bigger designs and those bigger wreaths because they're like, to ship it, it's going to be astronomical. So it doesn't make sense, right?
Yeah.
But there's something that you just learned. You just learned that you can go and contact and get an account with Worldwide Express. We're going to actually make sure that that's what it's called. And when I upload this on the other platform, we'll make sure that we have the right link to that so that you guys can look it up for yourself. It is great to know. And thank you so much for sharing that.
I want to see, we all want to help each other, right?
We
Whatever
want to
problem you
see
have.
everybody succeed. Everybody needs what's your word?
Champion.
Yep.
Everybody needs a champion. Someone's got to be in your
Everybody.
corner.
Yep, and that's something that Linda believes in more so than anything. And she actually shared earlier in our talk that even if it's not your significant other or your family, you need to have a champion. You need to have a champion.
Exactly. Go out there and create your own little mini community. We've done that. We have a group that we call the Crafty Coven, and it's several of us. I know Liz from Wild Wing Creations, Wild Wing Design is on it too, and it's just a couple of us that get together. But like, it's nice to just once a week talk and help each other with, hey, I'm having this issue, or bounce questions or ideas off of somebody. Because why struggle trying to figure something out if you can ask somebody who's already been through it, and that's going to save you time, and you're going to probably end up with a better result.
Right? Several brains are better than just one because we get stuck and we don't know how to do something, or the way we did it, it was much harder, longer, not worth it. And then you talk to somebody else who is in the same thing and you find out, oh, I was just doing it harder. I was just doing it harder. And there's an easier way to do fill in the blank, right? All right, folks, make sure that if you have absolutely any questions that you're asking, because Linda, our friend, is an open book and
An
she is
open book.
willing to talk about and share all things. How many of our friends have thought about being in a boutique or opening a storefront or having something to that effect? Because our friend Linda had a booth for several years in a place called Painted Tree. Painted Tree.
Yes. Yes, I
Yeah.
did.
You want to talk about that?
Sure. So I wanted to be able to like sell like larger items that I didn't want to ship, but I wanted to be able to have it set up. And doing craft shows, you drag it all, you set it up, and it's only for like 2 days. Sometimes it's just for one day. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. Nobody wants to do that. So I thought, well, let me see if this will work setting up a boutique space, because this particular one is basically like set up like a little store. Everyone paid rent for their own little booth. You set it up. They printed out the tags, but you uploaded all your SKU numbers and everything else, and they did it all for you. And I started out having a very large space. I think it was like 8 by 20, and that cost several $100s a month. And I did that space for a year. Didn't really financially make sense. It wasn't working out. So I downsized to a smaller space
Mhm.
and did that, I think, for like, I think I was there for like 3 years total.
Okay.
Personally, for me and that particular location,
Right.
I don't think I ever got a profit check more than maybe 6 times.
In three
So
years.
in 3 years, it
Gotcha.
just did not, I would break even or have to pay
Okay.
every month. So it sounded great for that particular location. but the reality of it was not what I was expecting. And it was very hard this year. I had to make a decision. I'm trying to grow the business. I had to decide to stop thinking with my heart and start thinking with my head. And
Right.
I had to pull out. And it made me really sad, but
Yeah.
I think it was the right financial choice for me because I have now shifted from trying to make so much to selling the supplies. So I'm like,
Right.
okay, it's going to pivot and that's okay, but it's okay to try things
Yes.
and you learn what works, what doesn't. And I don't consider it a failure. It was a great learning experience, and it helped me for future craft shows, knowing what will sell better, what will not. Small
Right.
little bows really sell. Um,
Okay.
but it's hard.
Yeah. And like she said, the decision to think with your head and not your heart, because your heart says, but I like my little store space. I like my little boutique area. I really enjoy dressing it up, right? For the holidays and for seasons and all of that kind of stuff. So the mindset shift, the final decision that you're just like, I need to do this because this is the right move for me. How did you get to that?
Just seeing myself pay for it every month. And I think it was about 6 months ago, I said, okay, I'm going to wait till, because the fall and Christmas season is when the sales really happened.
Right.
And I think I had like a profit check of like $100 from December. But I knew
Gosh.
ahead of time. I was like, I'm going to pull out of it in January.
Okay.
And I
Okay.
did,
Okay.
which is
And
sad, but
is
not to say that it's going to be that way at all locations. It was that particular
no,
one did not have great traffic.
right. And here's the again something else to think about. Know the boutiques, know the place that you're setting up in, do your research, see, test the market, you know, just because somebody said, hey, have you heard of, because that's what somebody said to me, hey, have you heard of Painted Tree? We've got three that are within 45 minutes from me in different locations. And they're like, have you thought about setting up in there? And then I did my research. I went and checked out to see how much it would be a month. And I'm thinking to myself, the only way that I can make that work is if I can have a passive, something that's passive income that would support that so that I didn't have to stress over what's happening there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, exactly. And then you got to make sure too. I had inventory that was for sale on Etsy. That was also there because I was trying to sell in both spots. So if something sold on Etsy, I had to go drive all the way there and back, and that's like a half an hour there, half an hour back. Or I had to call and say, "Can you please put this aside and I'll be in." That was stressful because I had done another boutique spot at the same time the previous year, and I had never put any of that inventory into Etsy. It was just all stuff I strictly made for that spot. That was
Right.
a really bad experience. So I brought all that
Wow.
inventory back, but then I forgot I had it. So then,
See, this is all trial and error. See, she's learned the
yeah,
whole time. She's learned. So it is a balance. It's a huge balance.
it
Yeah,
is.
that sounds like there was a lot of learning through all of that. So
There
now
was.
you have supplies. Let's
Yeah.
talk about what you offer, where people can shop with you. Um, yeah, just talk about what you offer the community.
Lots of supplies. So I started out shopping at the Craig Bachman warehouse sale where they would have like really good deals. So I bought a bunch there and I started selling those as supplies, like, oh, hey, extra stuff, that kind of stuff. And it kind of grew and grew. And now I actually have an account and I order stuff like this beautiful greenery or a roll of patriotic mesh. Or I don't know. If you're looking for a sign that you need to buy more supplies, check out Sweet Aria Decor. That's so cheesy. Sorry.
Or can they, no, that's perfect. That's exactly. But see, a lot of people don't know that as well. Like if they're not following you on all the social media, if they're not aware that you're not just a wreath designer, you are also a supply seller. Like people don't know that unless they know and watch all your social media because you do promote yourself.
I try. I try. And originally, I wasn't selling supplies, but so many people, when you go live and you're crafting, people are like, "Where did you get that? Where did you get that?" And I kind of got tired of pointing them to other people. And I'm like, "Well, people are asking me. Why don't I just sell it?" So I started doing kits. So like, I dropped the mesh, but like, I put together the sign and some rolls of ribbon. And then I started selling kits, and those really have taken off. So now I've got a ton of kits. So that's kind of replaced my, instead of focusing on like the boutique space and stuff, I started focusing on the kits. Now, granted, it's a lot more to store, but it's okay because I have so much fun. Sometimes, don't tell anyone I'm going to say this. Sometimes I like the supplies more than making the actual craft. Okay.
But honest.
Add this. But the blues can be really, really different. So I wanted to make sure that I had like a really nice navy blue that was going to be the right, because there's like a royal blue and then there's a navy. So I was able to go through and make sure, yeah, that this one that I was going to pick, the navy, looked good. So I put everything sure, and I was able to see what it was going to look like when I was done. And it works out really well. So a little bit of time using Canva to plan out your wreath can really end up saving you a lot of having to go back and undo things.
I love you. Thank you so much. I lost internet.
Uh-oh.
Out of all the times that we could do that.
Okay, that's
So,
okay. I was telling about using Canva to design your wreath.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and write the time to let my husband know what he has to edit out. So I was talking about kits. We were talking about, so we're gonna go back to talking about kits, and I was sharing that hold on a second, now I have a puzzle. This is fun. This is all things technology.
I hate the little puzzle piece.
I'm gonna take a breath, we're gonna smile, we're gonna bring it back in. So making kits. I have a kit that I'm going to be using that I got from Sweet Aria Decor that I'll be putting together, and I can't wait to show you my take on her kit. So the supplies that come from Sweet Aria Decor, you don't have to get them just in kits. She sells the pieces separately. So go ahead and share what you got, the ribbons that you were sharing, because I kind of saw a little bit.
Yep. So I've got a lot of patriotic that I got to stock up in the shop, because we know it's America's birthday, right? So we got lots of patriotic. So I've got different kinds of ribbon. I've got a lot of Halloween stuff. It's kind of like leftover from kits. I've got some extra, so started selling that. But I've got ribbon, signs, mesh, greenery, especially. Okay, I'm gonna hold this up, and it's gonna bring 5 numbers to mind. 60919. Yay!
Yes. Yes.
So I've got
These
that.
come in all colors, right? Do you have all the colors?
I've got a lot of colors, and I should be getting more red, white, and blue in shortly. It's on an import order right now, so that should be coming in. But I was surprised by how many people really wanted to buy that. I've got orders just for that stuff. So I got different Halloween colors, and that's my favorite mixed greenery bush. I know some people like it, some people don't, but it's got all the goodies in there. Why not use it?
But show us what you like about it, because I mean, a lot of people do and do not know. Look at how full that is. It's a filler.
Right. And you've got your florals, you've got your berries. We don't want to bury the berries. You've got like little eucalyptus-y type of stem, got a big flower in the back, and there's 3 pieces, and it pulls off. So you can pull these all apart and just keep the bunch together, and then just glue that whole section into your wreath. And it does a lot of it.
It's not a pusher, right?
No, this is not a pusher. It's basically just on a stem with the paper. But here, let's pull it apart.
Here we go. She's gonna show and tell.
What a feat of strength. And then the big thing, then you fluff it out. Like, people don't fluff their greenery enough. You got to air it out. It's like taking off your bra and letting those puppies breathe. You want to do the same thing for all your items in here, right? Like, it's so much more spread out versus, look at the difference.
Yeah, it makes a difference.
It does.
Yeah,
it does.
A filler fills space, guys, just so you know. A filler fills space, and because there's so many different stems on there, you don't have to continuously add different things. That's what makes that so popular.
It is fun.
Nice. I like the mustache.
Thank you. It complements my real one.
Right. It just landed. I'm still on the bra factor, so don't mind me. Okay. I'm still there. Sometimes it's just, you never know. You just never know what's going to come out of Miss Linda, and it will make you giggle. It will make you giggle. So as far as your what your supplies are. They're located in one place right now. You don't have them in two separate places, correct?
No, so it's all in my house. It's in my garage, my office, my living room, 3 rooms down in the basement. So it's I've had to be, because there's a lot. So like all the 60919 is together in one room. All the ribbon is together in one room. All the mesh is in the garage and the kit's in the garage. So I mean, but I do this because people are like, why don't you just get a warehouse space? I don't want to pay the overhead. I'm still trying to be able to make enough where so I get Social Security right now for myself and my daughter because my husband passed. I lose my portion of that when she turns. So I have 3 years to make this business work. So I have to find creative ways to be able to grow the business within the confines of the space I have because I don't want to pay for external warehouse space. I want to be able to be home. My daughter is some special needs and she's on the spectrum, and I get a lot of phone calls from the school, and sometimes I have to go there. Doing what I do allows me the freedom to be able to do that, and I don't have to beg somebody for a day off. I don't have to beg somebody to, can I go run to the school real quick? That's why I want to do this. That is my biggest why. And I also
And
don't want
that's
to
a
go work
huge
for corporate
one.
America.
But that's a huge one. And not only that, she literally has a craft house. I don't know if anybody else was listening. She literally lives in a craft house.
It's everywhere. I mean, the older kids moved out. Their rooms were empty. So my stepdaughter moved to Colorado last year. She wasn't even down the street before I had started putting wreaths in her closet.
I believe it. I believe it. I understand that. We all live it. I mean, a lot of us have had to take over different areas so that we don't have the overhead, because that's business sense. I mean, that's business sense because, as she said, financially, this has to support itself.
Yeah.
Lauren said she took over her daughter's room too. I think we all have. I think
Yep.
empty nesting means empty spreading. Like we're
I'm like,
spreading into all the areas.
yeah, if they're not paying rent for it, then I'm paying for it. So I'm going to use it.
Right, right. So, as far as shopping is concerned, where would you tell people to find your items for them to shop?
Oh, sweetariadecor.com. Now I know some social media places don't like it when you say the website.
I know, but
Sweetariadecor.com.
we're small businesses. This is what's so frustrating to me.
Yeah.
If you're going to say that you can have a business account, right? That should be something that's okay because you are a business account. If we go through the trouble of setting ourselves up as a business on any platform, we should be allowed to promote our businesses.
I'm right there with you. I know they don't like it when you say something that takes them off of their social media site. Their answer is going to be, well, then get a Facebook shop, get a
Well, here's
TikTok
the
shop.
thing.
I don't
But
want that.
here's the thing. Yeah, here's the thing. The ridiculousness of what their terms are as far as full refund.
Yeah,
Um, I'm not renting my wreaths. That's not what I'm in this for. I'm not going to send out a wreath that they can have for a month and then fully refund them back. No,
exactly.
no.
It's like you got to watch out for ourselves. As much as we want to help other people, we've got to watch out for ourselves. So I mean, things might sound like a great deal to begin with up front, but that's why I'm leery to use whatnot. I know a lot of
Yes,
people are selling on whatnot now, but I want to be able to set my shipping costs. I want to be able to pick the carrier that I use. I don't want to have to go drop something off at FedEx, UPS, and then the post office.
right. Right.
Mhm.
And if everything works for everybody's business. Like if it works for your business and you figured out a way that it works for you, that's okay. That's why we're not all cookie cutter. Everybody does what works for their business. And she didn't make that decision just willy-nilly. You do your research. You go and you do your research. You figure out what's going to work and what's not. When I heard when I heard how much it costs to do comments sold, I'm like, you better have an established business that can support that cost. And people, please buy from those people because they're spending a mint to do that for you.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to look into now is how can I do live sales without breaking the bank? Or
Right.
I don't personally want to do the auction style thing.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
not me. And it's okay if everyone's jumping on a certain bandwagon. It's okay to say, that's not right for me. I don't want to do
Right.
it because it's your business. And why push yourself to do something you don't want to do?
Right. And what works
You
for
know,
one person isn't going to work for another. And a lot of it has to do with their personalities. A lot of it has to do with their personalities. If exactly, if somebody is out there being like they can keep up with all the messages, because here's the thing, somebody's going to get upset. I asked for that, or I wanted that first, or it was my comment that went through first, or whatever it is, you know, because you're always going to disappoint somebody. I mean, that's just a fact. You're always going to disappoint somebody. You just have to be comfortable in what you're offering.
exactly. And don't compare yourself to other people. Comparison is the thief of joy, right? And we're all different. Like you were saying before, Claudia, everyone's got a different business. So don't be like, well, they're already doing that, so I can't do it. Yes, you
Yeah.
can. You know, there's not one vendor for everything, and just because someone is selling on a certain platform doesn't mean you have to either.
No, and that's the other thing, guys. I mean, you can do the exact same thing that somebody else is doing, but because you're different, you're going to show up different. You're going to be different just because you're different. That's just the way it is. Because there's no two people that are going to do the same thing alike. I can make a recipe one way, and guess what? Linda can take that same recipe, and I'm talking about food, and make it follow that same recipe, and it's going to taste different because maybe I don't measure certain things, or I don't, or she adds a little extra something because it's something she likes. It's going to be different because you're different.
Mine will
So
taste terrible and we'll have to do DoorDash. But me, what I'm saying, but it
not my thing, Claudia.
exactly. But it's okay to try it and fail and be like, okay, that didn't work. They did it this way and that worked for them and it tasted good. I did it this way. I didn't like it. I won't do it again. I'll try something different. Right? So you modify that recipe for yourself too.
And we're going to go back to having that retail space because you learned a lot. You learned a lot during that time. And I know that there are several people that are either A, thinking about it, have taken that leap. So can you share a little bit about how that impacted you mentally, both the positive and the negative side? I know the financial side was rough, and I know that that wasn't working for you at that time, but there's other factors that go into it as well, right?
Yeah, it taught me a lot about I could really literally track on a screen what people bought. And a lot of it wasn't the things that were priced in the middle. It was either an expensive wreath or a $5 bow. And those $5 bows, you sell a lot of $5 bows, that adds up. So you have to have things that are in a very wide price range because you want someone to be able to walk into your booth and be able to afford something, even if they don't have a lot.
Gotcha. So that's a great tidbit. So make sure that your offerings are all extremes, all areas.
Yes, exactly. Use that value ribbon from Sam's Club and make a bow and sell it for $5. Granted, the place is going to take their 10% commission or whatnot, but it gets your name out there and it gets you a sale.
So Aria's Mariposa Decor says, silly question, how do you ship bows?
I get a box that is 12 by 9 by 4 and I will take my bow. I get those wastebasket can liners, the really thin plastic bags, and I will put it inside one of those. And then I'll put like a little twist tie on it because I want to make sure I always try to package my stuff as if water could get in this and the bottom of the box could hang. So I put it in a bag and then I put it in there. And by its nature, the bow isn't like if it's a rounded bow, it's easy. If it's a long tail bow, I will curl those tails up. I stack them and then curl those tails up and then put them in the bag. The bag will kind of hold the tails in there and then just ship that 12 by 9 by 4 box. And I think I offer free shipping currently on my completed decor items, but I add in about $6 for shipping when I do my pricing.
Another good tidbit. from somebody who's been doing this for quite some time. And if you guys haven't seen her videos about how she packages her bows for craft shows, you need to look at that because it looks so professional. I actually took that tidbit, by the way. I
Good,
actually do that now.
good. It's fun.
I actually do it now.
Well,
Yeah, and it looks pretty. It just looks good.
well, and it's nice too because so I hang it on grid wall. So I've got grid walls and hooks, and then I put the bow on a chipboard. So I poke holes in the chipboard and I put the bow through it and twist it. But then I have a hole punch at the top, so you can hang 3 levels of bows on each hook. So it lets you have more display space, and it looks
Right.
nicer just hanging in there. But I also have my what I call my $5 bucket of bows, right?
Yeah,
Because people love to dig through buckets of stuff looking for things. It's like a treasure hunt.
they do.
So
They do.
they love
I
it at
did.
Christmas.
I did. Okay, so I had the leftover ribbon where you don't have really anything, like you can't make like a design out of it, but you have leftover ribbon. I took all of my fall and my Halloween ribbon and I just made bows. I just made bows and put them in it was a $3 bin. Can I tell you how many I sold?
It's
And
crazy,
it was
right?
just but and it wasn't like it didn't have to be like a bunch of the same kind of, it was just random. It was just because people were putting them on their sconces, people were putting them on their kids' doors. I mean, I was just like, they're like, oh, I've been, this is awesome. I can put this here. And I'm like, that was, I got to use a bunch of my ribbon that wasn't going to be used otherwise and made bargain bows.
Yeah. A lot of people will come up and say, I don't know how to make a bow. They're like, I have a wreath, but I don't know how to make a bow. So there you go. But then you give them your card, right? They get to know you. And then the next time they need bows for the other seasons, guess who's going to contact you? You know,
That
little
and
sales.
do you do any type of installs? Do you do like Christmas installs or front porch installs or anything like that in your area?
I have not done anything like that yet. No.
Okay.
No, I don't know if that's something I want to get into. I've got some issues with my back and my hands, so I
Yeah.
don't know physically if I can handle that. But
Right.
I guess if somebody threw enough money at me, I'd do it.
But there is money in it. I mean, from what I understand, people will pay like even like offices, that have like a front reception area. They want that decorated and they will hire it out. They will ask people to come in and decorate for them. And apparently it's super lucrative. I'm like, I'm the same as you. I don't know if I could physically do a bunch of them, but I can see myself doing a couple here and there, especially if the right price it was
Yeah,
thrown at me.
exactly. Well, I think
There's,
that and that's the tricky part to me is I'd have to work on like I'd have to ask somebody in the community. I would ask somebody, what do you charge? How do I go about pricing that? Because I know sometimes when people ask me for custom stuff, I underprice it, and that's one of my flaws that I'm working hard on. But I'm also trying to get away from custom stuff.
you underprice your custom?
By the time I'm all done, because they're like, oh, well, can I have more of this? Can I have more of that? And then, but they don't want to adjust their price. And that's my fault for not pushing back.
Yeah.
So I have to stop being such a people pleaser. And it is not my job to fit my design into someone else's
There's
price range unless it's a custom.
Well,
They
and
tell me,
here's the other part of it, because we all know there are things that we want to have that may be out of our budget. So what do we do when we want something? We find a way. We figure it out.
you
They
do?
will too. They will too. And here's the thing, you've been doing this for 9 years now,
Yeah, I mean, I made my first wreath 10 years ago. So I've been really kind of selling for 9.
and you're still underpricing yourself?
When it comes to custom stuff, yeah, and even when it comes to online stuff, I think I am, yeah. That's the biggest struggle. I'm still trying to chase the sale rather than knowing my worth, but I also have had some inventory sitting there for a really long time that I need to get out because I have no more room. So some of the stuff I'm intentionally dropping the price on because they're going to come home from being out of state and they're going to want to stay in one of those bedrooms and they have to be able to walk in and open the door. And right now they can't.
So it's the kids' fault.
Sure. Don't tell them I said that.
We'll just blame the kids. It's their fault. They have to be able to come home, so I have to underprice myself to get stuff
Exactly.
out the door. But that's the thing. So yesterday I was watching somebody live and something that they said really rung true, because a lot of us have this problem and this struggle because we want to keep making, but if we keep making and don't have room, that becomes a problem. But he said something about don't ever underprice yourself, because what ends up happening is you're screwing over other people that are actually pricing themselves correctly. And people are thinking that they can get this item at that price because you dropped your price, but in actuality, it should have been this price.
That makes sense.
That's a hard thing. That's a hard thing to take in. Now, there's one thing in like offering like return customers, like enticing them to keep shopping with you for the different seasons, or even to gift, right? To gift others something from your shop, enticing them with a discount, being like, hey, you got this. There's this whole section that I have that if you put this code in, it'll drop your price to this. And that way nobody really sees it. That's a little bit different way of doing that, I think. Because
That's
I
a good
think that you
idea.
can do that. Yeah, I think that you can do that. So it entices people to be like, hey, if you come back within the next 30 days, you get this discount towards these items. I mean,
True.
that could work.
Or if they're on my email mailing list, I can send that out
Exactly.
to the mailing list, which I
There
need
you
to be
go.
better about. Is anybody in here not struggle with making sure they send out emails? Because I am terrible at that.
Even started. I haven't even figured out where I want to host it to then do it. So and honestly, if I'm 100% honest, I've talked about this and known that I've had to do this for several months, but I need hand holding. I need hand holding. I need somebody to sit down with me and be like, this is what you need to do. This is where you need to set yourself up, and this is what you need to get in the routine after. You just find somebody that keeps you accountable. You just find somebody that can help keep you accountable, that you're doing the same thing. This is why community matters. If you're doing the same thing, finding somebody that keeps you accountable, and you're moving forward together and you're high-fiving each other, because let me tell you something, getting over those hurdles that have been difficult for you just because you don't know. It's literally just because you don't know the hows, the what's, the how to get there type of thing.
Yeah.
And I tried Google Forms, and I'm like, this hurts my head. That to me seems like I'm piecing it together, but it's not longevity. It's not going to have the longevity that I want, right? Not with Google Forms. You know how you can do a mailing.
Yeah.
That to me is like, okay, I'm not going to waste more time trying to figure that out, knowing that that's not what I'm going to use going forward.
No. I use Mailer Lite, and it's pretty easy and intuitive. I like
Is
it.
it
Yeah.
Mailer Light?
Yeah, LITE.
Yep. And this is why we have these conversations. This is why. Because we learn from each other and we grow from each other. And listen to me, if you're not in a community that is high-fiving you and supporting you and pushing you along and giving you information, you're in the wrong community. You're in the wrong community. You have to feel like you're not behind, because you're not. Where you start, she's been doing this for 9 years as a business. 9 years. And she's still evolving and growing and shifting and making it work.
And making mistakes, but
That's
learning.
how we learn. Exactly. That's how we learn. That's how we grow. So it doesn't mean that you starting this out having all the questions, because that's how it starts. You have all the questions and all the fears. It doesn't mean that you don't have a place. And Linda, is it saturated? Is wreath making saturated?
No, it's not. I mean, styles may change and what's kind of currently popular may change, but people are always buying things because someone could buy a wreath, right? Oh, I bought a wreath 3 years ago. Okay, well now that's been 3 years. It's a little faded. They're gonna want to replace it. They come back. I think people who say it's saturated are people who haven't put enough work into promoting themselves on social media and building your brand. Because here's the thing, you are your brand, and most of the time people, they want to buy. If they buy, sometimes it's because, oh, I know it's this person's wreath, or I know it's this person's wreath. They know the face, they know the story behind it, and you are part of your product. They're buying part of you. So if you're not putting yourself out there on social media, then it's kind of like they're just buying a generic, unnamed product without your face. So it's scary, but get your face out there. It's a beautiful face.
There you go. And it does, you don't, that's the comparison part. Don't say you can't do something because you're not like so and so. Don't do that to yourself. That is the worst thing you can do. I compare myself to who I was 2 years ago, to who I was a year ago, and I'm still growing. And if I'm still growing, then it's still working. Does that make sense?
Makes total
And Linda will
sense.
tell you the same thing. If you're not continuously evolving, shifting, changing within your business, then yes, you will fall short.
Yep. Don't look at anybody else's stats. What I look at is my Etsy, my stats. Is it green and has it gone up from the last year? That's the only thing I measure against.
Yeah. And if it hasn't, then you need to shift. You need to do something different. You have to put yourself out here. She said it, and we all say it. You are your brand. What is your brand? How is your brand showing up today? You know, what's different about you today? Is that whole see, know, and trust that everybody talks about? People love watching you make. Have you guys not realized that yet? People love watching you design. It's relaxing to them. And if they can shop with you, if they can watch you make it and then go somewhere to shop, hello, why aren't you doing that for yourself? You
Exactly.
need to be doing that for yourself. And talk about the communities and where you've learned, like where you have actually invested time and money into your business.
I was part of the Deco Exchange, creative and the business coaching groups, and I'm still in business, the business coaching one. And then I joined Lauren's mastermind group, Lauren Kilgore, and that's been wonderful as well. It's really nice to have that level of connection and like detailed, specific questions about technology or stuff. And there's people who have the answers. It's so helpful, but it's great too to help you hear what other people's questions are, and then that could kind of make your mind go other places, and then you can think, oh, it's okay. Or you can hear where other people are, maybe they're a little further behind you or a little further in front, and then you really get more comfortable knowing that I'm on my journey. They started their race earlier, so of course they're further ahead. I'm here. I'm not trying to catch up with them. I'm just trying to catch up to where I want to be. I set my own finish line.
There you go. There you go. And that's important. Setting goals for yourself, achievable goals. You can have an overarching goal, but there's things that have to happen to get you to that goal. So you have to continue to grow. And I can't emphasize this enough. The people that you surround yourself with matters. The people that are speaking into your business matters. How many people have you heard that are like your IRL people, your in real life people, walk into your craft area or walk into your home, look around and be like, do you really need all of this ribbon? Do you really need all of that mesh? You're seriously going to buy more.
Yes, we are.
How many people have had that happen? Right? So you feel, and it's not intentional. It's not intentional, but all they see, my sisters want to toss my stuff. I'm telling you, all they see is stuff. That's all they see. You see creations. You see the possibility of having a customer ask you for this color, and this color all in one design, and you have them. And you have them. How is it possible that I have this much red ribbon, but I don't have the red ribbon I need? How many people have been there, right? Or I don't have the texture that I want. See, my neighbor calls me a hoarder. I'm telling you that, look at how relatable that is. So those are not the people that you need to be speaking to you. Those are not the people that we need to be listening to. And you love them. And they're saying it out of concern. They're saying it out of concern because all they see is stuff. They don't see what you're building. It's like going to a construction site and all you see is the materials. You don't see what that's creating. It's just stuff, right?
That's really true. It's like if someone
See?
came in here, they would see I've got Christmas stuff up year round, and people would be like, why do you have Christmas stuff up? Because I have to start making Christmas in like May this year. They don't understand the timelines of being a crafter too, and the fact that you want to have all your stuff out. Yeah, it looks like a lot of stuff, but I don't want to have to go digging in bins. Digging in bins is going to take me time. It's going to make me frustrated. So it looks chaotic, but it's intentional.
Right. And that's the whole, I mean, guys, if you look at it that way, we have a little over 2 months before we have to start creating for the big holidays. And that's on purpose. And oh my gosh, and the people that make stuff for the makers, all the people that make all the attachments for the makers, you're consistently having to be way ahead of us so that we can get the stuff from you so that we can then create for our customer. So and it's always going. It's always going. I'm telling you, you need to have the right people speaking into you. And how hard is it as a crafter to be thinking, I have to be making Christmas in May?
It is
Because by the
crazy.
time Christmas gets here, you're over it.
My friend Liz from Wild Wing Wreath Design makes these beautiful snowman head attachments. And this year she's doing
Right.
bunnies, but we've been talking about, you know, trying to get way ahead of the game so that when that time comes, you know, when people are getting ready to make it, she's already got those attachments made. And it's a challenge to be that far ahead, but she's doing
Yes,
great. So
for materials, it's like you're constantly thinking when everything has a big sale, because at the end of every season there's a big sale. You have to be thinking what's going to work for the next season so that you can be ahead of the game. And that's all part of it. But learning all of that stuff, there's a lot to learn. Okay. There's a lot to learn, and you have to be willing to put the time and investment into what you're doing. Learn your craft, be a student of your craft. It's important. I promise you, it will benefit you more so than anything else. All right. So, what would be something that you would tell Linda 9 years ago when she was starting out? Knowing what you know today, what is something that you would say to that Linda about where you're going to be?
I would say keep at it, stop doubting yourself. But also, this is another something I learned from Liz, shop with intention. Don't just buy stuff willy nilly. I'm going to buy some of this, I'll buy some of that. Shop with intention, have a design in your mind. That way, it's not going to get so crazy with having overstock and too much stuff. But
Yeah.
really, it's just keep going. And if you don't have a champion around you, find one or really you have to be your own champion. You have to. But
Yeah.
really find a group of people that support you because once you do, things will really blossom.
You'll be
It's all the
excited.
difference.
You'll be excited. You need to find where you can be excited to share things, where people aren't going to yuck your yum, where people are going to be like, that's a great idea. That is a fantastic idea. And that will, check in with you to see how you're doing with that idea. Because let me tell you something, you will talk yourself out of a good idea within 5 seconds because of fear, because of not knowing how to do something. You will talk yourself out of it, and it's a fantastic idea, whatever that idea is. So by being around people that are like-minded, going in the same direction that you are encouraged by, is the best thing you can do for yourself. You need to know your tribe. Yes. Watching both of you are our mentors. Let me tell you something. She has that same mindset. There's always going to be somebody ahead of you, and there's always going to be somebody behind you. We need to be having our hand out to the person in front of us. It's going to get us to that next level that we want to be at. And we have to have our hand behind us to bring those people along to where they want to be. And that's the best way to do this. That is the absolute best way to do this. So if you're not following Miss Linda of Sweet Aria Decor, she is on all the platforms. She is on all the platforms. She makes her kits, and she has tutorials for those kits so you can learn how to make. Okay, so if you're looking to learn a new technique, a new style, check out Miss Linda. Check out Miss Linda.
Thanks. I got lots of YouTube tutorials. Some of them are grainy, some of them are good. And I don't know. I keep trying to make more. People always want to see what you make, but it helps to have a video with a kit, right? But it also, I do written instructions too. Not everybody learns well from video. Some people like to have a written piece of paper. I'm kind of that person. I like a little checklist, you know? So,
Yeah.
but
And that's
just
the thing.
keep
Everybody
learning.
learns different.
They do. They do, but just keep the passion for it. You don't want to lose the passion for it, you know? If it brings you joy, then keep going with it,
So speaking into
no matter
that,
what you're going through in life.
yeah, speaking into that passion part of it, if you start to lull in your designing or you're uninspired, what would be something that you would recommend somebody to do to get inspired again?
I like to go watch other people making. And then like, oh, you start thinking, I like the style of how they did that bow. They did the longer tails. They brought it down on the grapevine. They brought it down to the bottom. I just did one this week. I'd never made one that style before, but I was kind of starting to get into the rut, of this. I don't want to do the same thing all the time. It gets a little boring. So it was nice to try to watch other people, and then you get the inspiration from that. And then, obviously, Pinterest, but it's also fun to go look on the different supply websites and just like look through different ribbons and things and stuff. It's, you know, that's what I scroll at 1 o'clock in the morning when I can't sleep.
Oh, she's one of those up in the middle of the night people. So you can find Linda scrolling supplies at that time. Now, have you ever shopped
Pretty
in your
much, or having a
sleep?
snack.
Have you ever shopped in your sleep and been like, I don't remember ordering this?
I have. I did once. I placed like a $250 order with Craft Outlet. I think I was doing it during the night. And I don't know if I intentionally wanted to complete the order, but I did. I mean, I liked what I got, but I wasn't really ready to spend that amount, but I did.
Right, right. No, I hear
So
you.
don't
And
take your nighttime meds and then go shopping.
that's sound advice from Miss Linda. That is sound advice from Miss
Unless
Linda.
you're going to Sweet Aria Decor. If you go to my
Yes.
website, then please feel free to shop all you want in your sleep. No, shop with intention. That's my friend Liz.
No, I had to learn that last year. I had to learn that last year. Like I took a serious, I think it was 3 months, 3 months that I'm like, I'm not buying anything. I'm not buying anything because here's the thing. Watching people unbox items, watching people share supplies, all the, ooh, I want that. Oh, I need that. Ooh, I really like that. It can get out of hand. It can really get out of hand. Don't go into debt for this. Please don't ruin your relationships, your marriage, your finances for this. Please be mindful. Please be mindful because it can be addictive.
It can be.
It
And
can.
also look on Facebook Marketplace. If you're looking for inexpensive craft supplies or someone's leftover stash, Marketplace is a great place, especially if you're first starting out.
Miss Liz says, I've had to turn my phone on silent because of the cha-chings in the middle of the night. Well, hello, friend. High five to you. That's amazing. I love that for you because people do shop at all hours of the night. They do. They absolutely do. I've woken up to orders and I'm like, when did these people? Yep, in the middle of the night. In the middle of the night, they're shopping. I don't, you can't predict when customers are going to buy from you. But what I can tell you is if you're serious about creating a business, Linda and I can both attest to you that all the things that you hear that are negative about that handmade place that people shop from, a lot of that stuff is just lack of knowledge because it's actually a very good way to put your business out there. And yes, there are fees, but if you had a storefront, or in her case, a boutique front, you're going to be paying no matter what. You're going to be paying something. Okay. So and if you're promoting yourself, that platform does give you a link to share that does save you on those fees. So you've got to be smart about who you're asking those questions to. But that platform is known, it's trusted, it protects the seller and the buyer, and you don't have to worry about collecting tax or anything like that. They handle it all. So there are pros to it. So if you're a little leery and have heard people say they're tired of paying the fees, then they're not pricing their stuff right. I mean, I'm just going to be honest. You're not pricing your stuff to incorporate those fees so it's not such a big deal.
Exactly. Like, why would you want to
Well,
do it on your own and have to submit individual state taxes? The time that would take alone, and
yeah,
then your visibility gets so increased. I love Etsy. Is it, every platform has its issues, but I've never had a problem.
exactly. And that's the other part. They protect us both. They're not just protecting the customer. The customer, is protected when they shop with you if you're not an honest business owner, but they protect both ends, because they even take their time to vet you as the seller. They don't give you your money right away until that customer gets their stuff. They want to see that you're reliable so that you're actually producing the things that those people are getting before you get your money. Does that make sense? And Mason even said, especially when some local places take 35%.
Ouch.
I mean, it's one of those things that depends on where you put your stuff, sometimes putting stuff in consignment at boutiques or whatever because they want to bring your stuff in. Guys, be careful about those situations too. And like Linda shared, having things in both places, having things at the shop as well as posted on Etsy, having to go pick up the item. Is that consignment person going to be okay with you taking that item? I've heard people have problems with that, where the consignment place is like, no, you're not taking what you have in here to go sell it somewhere else. I'm telling you, be mindful. You have to be around people that have done it, experienced it. Conversations, have a contract that you both agree on. Always have it in writing. Always have it in writing. I can't emphasize that enough.
Yeah.
Understand what you're getting yourself into. Be wise. Ask questions.
Go in there
Ask.
and shop like a customer. Look at how much empty space there is.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, hold on a second though, because when I thought how much empty space there is, it could be two things. It could be that they're selling stuff regularly, or they're not
Oh,
keeping stuff in stock because people have pulled out.
yeah. I will. So for my particular painted experience, currently now, like the whole back row is completely empty. The one next to it is completely empty. It's just empty booths. It's not that the stuff is sold out. It's just that the people are leaving, and there's a
Right.
reason
That's a
why.
problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a problem. Yeah,
Yeah.
and
But
I
if it's
agree.
like fully up and there's no room in it, then it means, hey, maybe things are selling and there's probably a waiting list to get in here. So that could be a good
Right.
place.
Oh no, there's one painted tree that you can't get into as a person looking for a booth. You can't get into. So, and that says that people are actually finding that that's working for them because they're not willing to leave, right?
Exactly. And every location, even if it's a chain, every location is run differently. It's located in different spots, different parts of the city shop differently. So like I'm not turned off to ever trying it again. It would just probably be a different location. So, it's take everything with a grain of salt, but do your research.
Yeah, absolutely. So if somebody is watching you while you're making a design, if you haven't had the opportunity to watch her design and they're asking questions during your live, are you welcoming of those questions? Will you show them how to make a bow, for example? Because I know a lot of people struggle with making a bow. Do you mind those type of questions while you're live?
I love those type of questions because my whole purpose in doing it is trying to get other people to love it as much as I do. So if people are like, hey, what if they come on late, what did you cut that mesh again? Oh yeah, I cut that at 18 inches. Or where did you get that again? Of course. The hard part for me is more on the technology because I used to try to do it on an iPad and the comments would disappear and I kept having to swipe to bring them back. So now I have to bring my laptop in because the comments stay up. That was my
Right.
my biggest thing. But I like to
Okay.
bounce back and check the comments because the whole point of us showing how to do this is to get other people to get involved because I believe so much in crafting is therapy, and it's you make pretty from pain. That's the motto, right? So we want to share it. We want to encourage it. And I think if you don't answer people's questions, it kind of feels like gatekeeping. And I don't like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean it's simple stuff. I mean there's intricacies to what we do that we're not going to talk about in an open platform because customers sometimes pop in and you don't need to talk about how you include your shipping in your pricing or how you do all of that stuff because that's stuff that, to a customer can seem kind of shady, but it's not. It's actually what people do in order to offer best prices for the items. And because shipping is expensive, no matter how you look at it, for the size items that we send. They're not heavy, but they're big. So you have to understand that there's some things that, but send her a message. Privately send her a message. Just contact her because it's the same for most designers. We are so happy to give you that information. And a lot of times we've either made a video showing that or we can send or show you somebody who's already made a video doing that where we got our information and that way you can learn too. But just be mindful because that whole term gatekeeping drives me nuts because we're not trying to not give you information. It's just sometimes it's not appropriate. Sometimes what you're asking isn't appropriate or the right place to be asking that.
Yeah.
So there's that kind of stuff. A lot of people say it's been their therapy. A lot of people have said that crafting is their therapy, but there are times. Has there been a time for you, Linda, where you knew you had to do it, but it took everything in you to do it?
Yes. Oh, I just was not in the mood, but I had an order and you've got to get the order out, you've got to get it done. But I'm like, I just want to sit down. I don't feel good or I'm not in the right headspace. So when that happens, I'll okay, I'm just going to put something on Netflix and have that going as to kind of distract my brain while I get it done. So it's not always a picnic. You can't always fully enjoy it like when you've got it as a business. But, I don't think you ever wanted to get to the point where you're feeling resentful toward it.
Right, right. And it's a balance. That too is a balance. Because if a design takes off, you've had designs take off where you're continuously doing the same thing over and over and over again. What would you recommend for somebody who's struggling in that aspect?
If you got three of the same design you have to do, set it up like an
No.
assembly line.
Okay, there you go. Like, yeah, so you're doing a multiple of the same thing.
Yeah, like those big jack-o'-lantern pumpkins. I was getting lots of orders. I'm like, ugh. It went faster if I set three of them up on the table because they were all pretty similar, and there's and then I do the bow, bum, 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 bum. It goes faster, and then you feel like you kind of made it once instead of three separate times.
Right, right. And so that's batch ordering, right? That's getting your batch orders together.
Yeah.
Liz says that she hated the Easter bunny wreath that went nuts. I'm telling you, sometimes a design hits. Sometimes a design hits, and it's good for your business when that happens because believe it or not, Etsy likes when you have one item that you can sell over and over and over again. It's one of those things that's like, okay, this is reliable. This is a multiple. You guys have heard that. But at the same time, sometimes because we're so creative, it's really hard to continue making the same thing over and over and over again.
Exactly. Or like I'll set it up where, okay, once I get these three made, then I'm gonna treat myself with a cupcake. I'm very food oriented. But like if you have a goal for
I
if I
love
get
it.
this done, then I can do that,
Right.
kind of have a little reward for yourself at the end. That kind of helps trick your brain into it, I guess.
Right. Well, you need that dopamine somehow. You need to get that dopamine hit somehow because when you're first making a design, of course, you're getting all the, ooh, I like what I did there. Ooh, this looks really nice there. But then when you're making it, somebody said they had made one design 200 times. And that to me blows my mind. Like, wow, you made something 200 times. And I don't, it's not, I haven't experienced that, so I don't know that it would drive me crazy. But thinking about that is like, how do you still find joy in making the same thing over and over again?
You can time how long it takes yourself to make one and then see if you can make it faster the next time. So
Oh,
kind of
you
turn it
can.
into a little bit of a game.
Yeah, you challenge yourself. And because we're not competitive at all, we're not competitive by nature at all, but when you're competing against yourself, it kind of makes it fun. But that's a good tip. That's a good tip. So see if you can make it faster. And here's the other thing, always calling things cousins and not sisters. Like, is it going to be exactly the same? Probably not. So calling things cousins where it's the same materials, it's the same concept. Everything might not be exactly the same,
But close enough.
but yeah, but it looks good. It looks good. You can put it up to the picture and be like, you might be able to tell the difference, but the customers won't. The customers won't. So there's that. All right, Miss Linda. What is something for this community that you feel is the most important thing that they can do for their business?
I have to say, trust in yourself enough to put yourself out there. It's okay to be nervous, but really put yourself out there, because part of you goes into making what you've made. So have enough confidence in what you've done to know that it is good enough. Someone will want it, and it is worth spending your time marketing it and building yourself up as your own brand, even if it's scary.
Isn't that awesome? Isn't that awesome? I mean, because you all have a purpose. You are all beautifully and wonderfully made. You all have a purpose. You all have something to offer. You all have something to offer. Lean into your giftedness. Where would you say you are the most gifted, Linda?
In buying the materials, shopping for them. No, I'm pretty good with bows. I like bows. I'm not
Okay.
very great with grapevines, so that's an area that I want to expand on. But I think I'm pretty confident in making something that's in a good price range, like lower to middle price range, to appeal to a lot of people. But I say, yeah, I like making my bows.
The bows. So see, but you lean into that. You have to lean into what you are good at, what your natural giftedness is, because you will be successful no matter what if you're leaning into where you're gifted. Okay. And the areas that you want to grow in, like she just mentioned, she wants to get better with grapevines. Well, how are you going to do that, Miss Linda?
I'm going to watch other people. I'm going to watch people in my group, and then I'm going to try. And then I'm going to not like it, take it apart, and try it again.
See?
It's just
That's what it
consistency.
is. Yep. Consistency. Consistency. That word, guys, that word is huge. You have to be consistent. How long did it take you to learn how to make bows? There you
Because
go.
the style of bows changed from when I first started making them. Everyone had like the loops, and it was the pro bow, the hand, and then the little center loop, and now then you get the ones with the little top tails and the long tails, and the style of bow changes through the years. So you're always trying to watch other people. Like I watch Emily Waldo for making the bows. She's fantastic. But Bam's got beautiful bows. Burlap and Blaine. Just lots of different people, and watching their style and then trying to emulate it, but then still putting your own spin on it. Because I mean, they use really nice, the quality of their ribbons that they use is like the really nice expensive ribbons, and it looks great, but it's like,
Uh-huh.
okay, how do I take that and put it into the price range that I am targeting?
Right. And it's the Gucci's and the and the Michael Kors and the Louis Vuittons and all the Louis Vuittons and all of that kind of ribbon. It's the high end, beautiful, but it's gorgeous. It is gaga gorgeous. Like it makes you stop because that ribbon is 50 and above. 50, at least 50 and above. And a lot of times it doesn't, it's like a Lamborghini. It's literally, but see, here's the thing about that ribbon too. Be mindful if you are going to get into that ribbon, they come in 5 yard rolls. Five
Yeah,
yard rolls.
you're not getting what you think, but you can make it go far, and you can pair really expensive ribbon with a less expensive ribbon.
Right, right. And there's all different ways, but this is why listening to others, being around others, you learn those tricks and techniques. So don't isolate yourself. That's my to everybody. Don't isolate yourself. Don't think that you need to do this. Branch out and reach out to others because it's important. You grow further, farther, faster by being in community with others. You just do.
Exactly.
You just do. All right, Miss Linda, is there anything that you would like to share to wrap this up for today?
I would just like to say, love yourself wherever you are in the journey. Be kind to yourself, and always make sure that you tell the people in your life that you love them, right? But it's also okay to take time for yourself to craft. You don't have to
Yes.
give all of yourself to everybody else.
There you go. So save a little for yourself. And just know that Real Talk happens on Fridays on this platform at 11 a.m. And next week I will have Courtney with Southern Owls joining me. And if you didn't see her interview 2 years ago, you need to watch that because then she's going to talk about how far she's come from that journey of 2 years ago. So you guys have a wonderful rest of your Friday. Linda, thank you so much for being so open and honest and willing to share your story. Your story is absolutely precious and tender. And like I said, there's somebody in the community that literally is going through what you went through right now. So I know it meant a lot to her to hear your story. So, Emily, we love you. And if you need to reach out, please do. We support you, and we're so grateful that you got to be here. You guys have a wonderful Friday. Thanks for being here.
Thanks,
Bye.
Claudia. Bye.
Thanks, Miss Linda. Bye.